Welcome, listeners, to Thrice, a horror movie podcast brought to you by Sinister Siblings, where we review a horror movie not once, not twice, but thrice, to see what comes from repeat viewings and share our thoughts with our dear listeners. Joining me, as always, to my left are Mark.
Hello.
And to my right, Tracy.
Hello.
And this episode, we're walking over the finish line very, very slowly for episode 3 of In a Violent Nature.
I could do.
If we had a bigger budget, there'd be like a thunderclap or something.
Yeah.
There, wouldn't there?
Or just the sound of leaves crunching beneath feet.
Birds chirping, leaves crunching.
Yeah.
Yeah, whippoorwills.
Crunch.
Yeah, well,
Crunch,
yeah.
crunch.
I noticed that in the third watch.
There you go.
Too many whippoorwills.
Whippoorwill. You can't have too many whippoorwills.
They,
Well, be a
you
group of
can.
whippoorwills. Are they just a flock, or is there something more fun?
Maybe it's a whirlpool.
A whirlpool of whippoorwill. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. If you're listening to episode 3 of our coverage, you probably have a rough idea how the podcast works. But as always, we like to just cover it off. So the first episode we do is just our own opinions based off our initial viewing and the trailer itself. And second time round, we obviously broaden the conversation because we've got some information from each other. And then third time round, we have it more external where we get some input from people involved in the film, external reviews, you guys and the listeners. So if you've already listened to episode 2, you would have seen we had some input from Charlotte Crayon and we also had some input from Chris Nash, the director. So thanks again to those guys for helping out with the podcast.
Indeed. Yes,
Indeed.
thank you.
And yes, keep an eye out too because In a Violent Nature 2 starts filming this September 2025.
In a mere couple of weeks.
Yes, Johnny is
Yes.
coming back.
Yeah, here's Johnny.
So yes, I mean obviously yet again it is part 3 of the coverage, but nonetheless, yes, spoilers are plenty.
Absolutely.
So just be mindful that if for some reason you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and come back. We'll wait.
Yes, we will. And just to take everybody through the synopsis of the film, just in case you've forgotten or you just would like a little refresh, In a Violent Nature is about when a group of teens take a locket from a collapsed fire tower in the woods when they unwittingly resurrect the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime. The undead killer soon embarks on a bloody rampage to retrieve the stolen locket, methodically slaughtering anyone who gets in his way, in a slow, meandering style.
It doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't. I added that little bit. That was an ad-lib. So, guys, third time.
I'm excited to be doing this one again.
Yeah? Why is that?
I really do like the film. I think there's an interesting approach to it. I understand it's a little bit polarizing, and that's cool. I think it's good to have films that sort of prompt some different types of discussion. I tweaked my viewing for this one and actually just watched it with the subtitles on because I was keen. I wanted to just sort of pick up a little bit more about the conversations with the campers and things, and because everything's from Johnny's point of view, sometimes it's a little bit distant or a little bit quiet. So I was keen just to see if there's some extra little nuggets we could...
So you put the film on silent?
No, I put the subtitles on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so you had the dialogue and
As
the
well
subtitles.
as...
Yep.
All right. Were you wearing your glasses at the time?
No, I was just trying... Actually, I was, yes. Actually, I was. Because it helps me with my vision when I'm watching movies.
With a knee rug. Sorry, that's just how I would.
Actually, all the kids watch things with subtitles.
Do they?
Yeah, because it's like TikTok and stuff. They're all used to like having text splattered all over everything.
Oh, I see.
So-
And how did you find the subtitle experience, Mark?
It was quite good. It was just, it sort of tightened some things up. Like there was a little throwaway line at the campfire where they, the guy, I think it's Aaron, who tells the story about the whole Johnny and his dad story about the White Pine massacre. And everyone's finished with that and they're sort of all packing up and he's like, oh, let me tell you about the Rangers who got attacked 10 years ago. And it was just a little throwaway kind of line in the background, but that tied in to later when we saw the Ranger. And then there was the picture of, the Rangers get together. I think it was Ranger Danger or something, I think it
That's
said.
correct,
From and that was all sort of just weird little things that weaved in, which I thought was kind of cool.
No, that was good. I picked that up as well this time through.
And I must say, I really did like I liked the 2-part exposition in that we did have some of the story around the campfire, but then we got more of the story from the ranger. I kind of just like that rather than just having sort of the traditional, crazy old timer or whatever who says to those, you damn kids don't go up the mountain sort of thing. But you kind of had, it was urban legendish, but there was truth in it, and it was, you sort of had to go looking for it. It wasn't all just delivered up. Although, Adam, I've got to put it to you. Why is the locket just balanced on a pole? I'm really struggling with this bit because part of me goes,
Yes.
like, the ranger's like, my daddy put him down and then I put him down. And then I'm like, and then you knew the locket is the only thing that keeps your soul at rest. So you precariously dangle the golden locket.
Well, that's what I said last time. Why didn't they just put it in the coffin with him or the whatever he was in?
Just bury it.
Yeah. Well,
Chuck it in the dirt.
There's two things. Why the pipe? It's like
I think it was in him.
alive.
well, that's what I thought too, like a vampire. Like I thought, is the locket on the pipe and then stabbed through his heart?
Because it was definitely in him, because if you can hear that noise, we have a cat playing.
Yeah.
But it was, I'm pretty sure, because you watch it and the pipe wiggles and jiggles, and then it seems to have a wet section to it. So I think it's like being pulled out.
Anyway, we're talking about the locket. Why isn't it? Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? There's no real logical reason why you wouldn't bury him with his locket and keep him happy underground with his locket. No complaints. He's under there forever.
Stuff it down his gob,
Put to bed.
Danny,
Yeah.
But I just
the Khyber, says Trace.
But I understand the plot device. I get, you need someone to take it to resurrect. But part of me goes, there's lots of ways you could make that happen.
Yes.
You could have had them climb in the fire tower and it's already falling apart, and then maybe it properly collapses and a wall opens and his body's in the wall.
and it tumbles out and the locket,
like it just felt like they made no effort to hide it at all, and just seemed to be the locals knew, don't mess with Johnny.
Yeah.
And so everyone just, it was like a sacred site that no one protected or something.
Yeah.
It was a bit weird.
Tis weird.
But the other bit, so at the end, so we've got the lady who picks Chris up at the end.
I wanted to talk about this a bit, yeah.
And I don't know if we talked about this before. The lady, her name's Lauren Taylor. She was actually in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, he was. Adam was saying it to me the other day.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. But I just like her whole story about her brother, like, which I've just tagged.
Yeah.
Bobby and the bear. But was it a bear, or do we think it was Johnny?
Oh.
I wondered about this. I mean, yeah, because they thought the bear had run away.
I didn't think
But
of
it was
that.
this whole story about how the bear was just killing things and not eating them. And
Yeah, true,
well, I
true.
thought perhaps it was, is it an allegory where it's like, or a metaphor?
Okay.
as in just how violent nature can be.
Yes,
Animals that kill
exactly.
for no reason.
Yeah, they
But
get
this is what I'm talking about. Well, this is what I wanted to say. That bothered me because I'd never really paid proper attention to her story, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
be this allegory. It's supposed to be saying something about a violent nature, and then he kill. He has a reason. It's his locket.
Yeah,
it's not
but-
much of a reason, I'll give you that.
I mean, I guess because he starts, well, basically, because she talks about that syndrome that animals get where
The
they just,
henhouse syndrome.
yeah, where they just kill indiscriminately. So initially, I mean, it's proposed that he's doing this because he's out to get his locket back, but he just starts killing anybody for any reason. And the way he does it is he just does whatever he feels like because he's got this violent nature. So I took it to be like an animal who's infected with this syndrome. Once they almost like get the taste of blood, they just keep going. So maybe that's why it took over and expanded more than just going after a locket. He just had got into like a frenzy almost, and that's just what he was going to do.
Yeah, well, we're sort of... it's a horror movie podcast, so we don't spare on the guts. But I thought it was interesting because Johnny definitely spent some more time killing certain people.
And there wasn't actually a lot of sense to that. It wasn't the ones that you felt deserved it or anything. Or
Well, this is what I'm wondering. So I sort of tracked this a little bit. So Aaron, who was the guy who told the story, and then he was going to go, whether he was actually going to try and pick up the gas station girls or he was actually just going to the toilet. We'll never know.
And why
He never
wasn't
made
there a
it.
toilet inside the cabin?
It's the woods. But
He just wanted the experience.
But he had a Ranger T-shirt on,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
seemed to upset
Yeah.
poor old Johnny. And but then Troy, who was part of the love triangle with Colt and with Chris, he seemed to cop it pretty rough. And I was like, is that because he made a joke about Colt's dead dad? But then at the end, Colt just got his head pulverized.
Yeah, he really went to town on him.
And I wanted to ask you guys, why do you think there was that? You have to call it overkill.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
was that overkill on Colt?
No reason. Like, that's the thing. No reason other than it having the effect on the girl of this is an unstoppable force, a violence that I can't understand. I'm nooping out of this entire situation kind
Yeah.
of thing. But yeah, apart from that, there's no reason for him to have a kind of crazy vendetta against that guy.
I was just wondering if, because obviously we have that sort of darkly comedic part where they're all like, I'm going to do this. Shh, I think he
Yeah.
sees us.
Yeah, such
And he's like, I'll distract him. And whether he was like, don't try and make a fool out of me
No,
sort of
I
thing.
don't think so. I think it's like the woman at the end says, animals don't get hung up on reason. So I don't think Johnny was hung up on reason. I think by that point he was just like, you're in my way.
Was this just the culmination of the bloodlust? Do you think it just
Yeah.
peaked?
Again.
So
Yeah, Adam.
they had the locket on their person.
Yes.
If they had just given him the locket then,
Yeah.
would he have walked away?
I don't think so. I think his blood was up.
Well, this is kind of what's painted because Chris puts it on the gas can,
Yeah.
petrol can here in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I'm leaving the bear trap. I'm leaving
Yeah.
the petrol.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God be with you.
And
Yeah.
in truth, I mean, the end of the film, I think, plays beautifully like that. I really love that part because it twists the expectations because you assume when she finds the road, in most slasher type films, the sun comes up,
Yeah.
the evil night's finished, and
Yeah.
the truck would pick her up and that'd
She's
be the end.
safe.
But instead,
Until the final scare.
correct. But then there is no final scare.
No.
No.
But then the truck keeps driving and and you're like, is this not the end?
Yeah.
And so I thought they played that ending really, really well. But ultimately, that is kind of what happens. We get this slow pan. They go, the locket's no longer on the petrol. He's taken it, and potentially he has just gone back to the fire tower.
Yeah, but he obviously hasn't because we've got a sequel coming. But I also thought what was different with this film was she was the final girl, but she didn't get her final girl showdown. Normally in a slasher, they have to fight for it. You know, she did go through hell, but they have a brutal battle and she either thinks that she's got rid of the evil or she just manages to escape and, the evil's coming back. So I thought this was quite unusual in the fact that the last we see of Johnny is just beating this poor guy into a jam and she sort of takes off running and then we just watch her running for a while and then you've got the sort of the great scene in the car. But I just thought that was a really different choice not to have her have a battle royale and it just kind of, I thought maybe potentially it's more, so to speak, real life. Like you probably, if you could run away, you would.
But and I know we've talked a little bit about, last time we talked about how there's a bit of a double play on the title of the film being and just about how nature is violent.
Yeah.
And when you tie in the tale of Bobby and the bear, if we assume it was a bear, I think it just starts painting that picture that you need to respect nature and where you fit in it.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways you can go, Chris got to that point where she went, you know what, I'm out of my depth. And this, I can't just impose my will about how this needs, I actually need to leave. I need to just go, this is, and almost her victory, I guess, was actually the realization, because a lot of other people were like, I'm going to try and shoot him, or the ranger was all like, I'll fix you kind of thing. And anyone who actually tried to tackle Johnny failed miserably. And I guess maybe that's the thing. Chris's victory was realizing, well, you know what? Discretion is the better part of valor. And I'm just not coming back to the woods.
Yeah, exactly right. But I also thought in terms of the violence, I had two ideas that came up for me. Like I really noticed in this viewing the sounds were very jarring and I guess in their way violent. So when you were listening to, Johnny going through the woods, it was, like we were saying before, it was birdsong and it was just leaves and wind in the trees. But the minute you had any sound from the campers, these interlopers, it was jarring and it was horrible. And it was like car horns or music or them, blaring, their voices like carrying on. And it was just really annoying and jarring and violent. And
messing with Johnny's serenity.
Yeah, and with nature, like instead of being at one with nature and the beautiful, peaceful sounds and la la la, they were creating a real ruckus. And
Well, the first we see them, it's them hooning up the road,
Yeah.
whooping it up.
yeah, exactly. So I sort of thought that was kind of interesting. But then it also occurred to me, so Johnny becomes who he is, he becomes this eventual rotting corpse because people played a trick on him when he was a boy and, he died and all of this sad stuff. So he wasn't violent then. So why is he a violent nature now? Like he was just this innocent kid who was just going to play with some toys. He wasn't born with a violent nature.
No, I think it was when they killed
tr-
his dad. He
Yeah.
then came back and killed all the lumberjacks.
Yeah, but so still he wasn't, I guess in terms of in a violent nature, it seems to me that's something innate in you, something you were born with.
Well, you could argue that violence creates violence too. Perhaps it's a
Yeah.
nature-nurture argument if we want to get into that
Because
one.
that just it struck me as like, well, he wasn't always like that.
It's interesting too when you're just going back quickly, we were talking about the sounds, because obviously there's no score in the film, which was a deliberate choice. But I did notice when Chris was running from Johnny at the end, they very deliberately ramped up
Oh, yeah.
all the
Nature sounds
and
at
made
night.
it very much not tranquil. Whereas there was times
Yeah.
some of the shots of Johnny walking, there were these beautiful sunsets and lovely flowing grasses, and
Yeah.
it was lovely. You're like, I could picnic here.
Yeah.
And then when Chris is running and it sounds terrifying. It's like a horrible.
Yeah. I guess that's to show her panic and her fear and her disorientation and just out of her comfort zone again, out of her space, like out of her depth. Like this isn't her world.
And before we get off the sound thing, the other thing with a nice little bit of humour I enjoyed was when I think it is Aaron when he gets like his head cut in half, and Johnny's dragging his body up to the ranger station and his cassette player is getting
Yes.
slower and
Yeah,
slower.
I noticed that too.
It's a clever device to sort of show how long it's taking, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
So that was quite funny.
Yeah.
It was just passing time.
Yeah, so did anything else stand out for either of you on this viewing? Something that you hadn't noticed before that sort of changed how you felt about the film?
Well, no. But
Oh.
I
Well, the short answer is
last
no.
episode I said I would look for. I said that I don't think you can really do a sequel, and I can't see what the sequel would be. And next time I'm going to see if I can find an in for a sequel, and I kind of have. I don't know if it's a sequel as such. It's maybe more of a separate cut or whatever. And I know it would be like just pretty by the numbers, but I want to see this movie the right way around, the way a slash is normally done.
Oh,
If that was the sequel, I'd kind of be interested in that. Just as a puckish kind of, finger to the industry to do that. It's like, this is In a Violent Nature Part 2 as a slasher, as normal, as you would normally see it,
In a Violent Nature Redux.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be
Looking
interesting.
glass.
That's what I want the sequel to be. Yeah.
I picked up the very uncouth gentleman at the beginning who's fighting with the ranger,
Yeah.
Chuck.
Yeah.
Yet again, like I said, having the subtitles on was actually quite interesting just to pick up some dialogue because the ranger was warning him to stay out of the woods because something might come through your traps.
Yes.
And then literally right after that, Johnny comes through the traps. I
Traps.
thought that was a cute little...
Yeah.
Because I guess when I first saw the film, to be fair, it felt... because it was in reverse, it wasn't the traditional slasher thing. It felt sort of like a group of a little bit of disconnected vignettes. Like you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
here's the yoga girl and here's the guy with the headphones and there's these two jocks who are kind of at each other. So it's been interesting watching it a couple of times just to see that there are some connected dots that you can actually go, okay. And I found watching it the other night, knowing some of the story beats, I felt the film actually felt tighter. And I know there's that conversation people have about the endless walking as it can feel sometimes, but I really didn't pick that up at all this time because you sort of knew where things were going. And you could even pick up sometimes when Johnny was walking with more purpose and...
Yeah, he can put the speed on when he feels like it.
Yeah, so, I think that was really well done. And even I probably picked up too that when the Lumberjacks first played the prank on Johnny, I believe they dressed him up in like the firefighters'
Yeah.
hood and stuff to try and mask the accident. Like
Yeah.
they tried to make it like he was playing dress ups and fell
Yeah,
or
and
whatever.
fell,
So
yeah.
that mask, I think, had some more resonance to him. Because I quite liked that they had the drag hooks and the hewing axe and tied it all very much into the timber industry rather than just a random weapon.
Yes.
But I think
Yeah.
tying the mask in almost to the fact that was what they tried to cover up the crime in the first place.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I think one thing I noticed was when the jock people are trying to escape or get help, and they throw the keys into the woods and they land at Johnny's feet. And then he sits at the base of a tree and he's playing with the keys, but there's like a little toy car on the keys, and he's playing, like he takes off his mask and he's playing with the little toy car. So he's still kind of very much a child and just playing with this. And I thought that was kind of quite poignant, really. He was just playing with the toy car.
But yeah, it also probably highlights that more, I suppose, shark type hunting of just it's very primal. Like there's not necessarily a lot of higher thought of, oh, you said or you did or I remember. It's a little bit more just of, that's mine, I want it back and I don't care who's taking it,
Yes. So Mark, you're going to lead us through some stats about
I've
this
got a few
film?
little stats here, and it's interesting when we talk about the sequel that's coming up. So this film globally, according to thenumbers.com, only took in a box office around the world of $4.5 million. It's not big numbers, and here in Australia, it only ran for 4 weeks.
Is that because it's a Shudder production and they were hustling it to streaming quite quickly?
Quite possibly. I mean, I think it did the festival circuits and got a lot of buzz, and I think that's why they pushed it to a wider theatrical and then probably keen to get it back in-house to make the money.
Yeah.
And, so here in Australia, it only ran for 4 weeks, so, we were probably lucky to catch it when we did. And it only opened on 96 screens nationally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, it's an R-rated horror film, and it's a pretty intense horror film, so I can get not every cinema wanting to run it every hour. So it only made $34,000 in Australia.
34,000.
It only made $34,000 here in Australia. Because like I said, it only ran for a month and basically opened on next to no screens. And so from that side of things, there you go. But like I said, the buzz has all been so positive with it. And the sequel is going to start shooting in September 2025.
Okay.
So what about recommendations? Trace, what have you, if people liked watching In a Violent Nature, what have you got for them that might be something in their wheelhouse?
Gosh, I think, the obvious thing is to look at all of your classic sort of 80s slashers, of which there is a wild abundance, but even things like your Friday the 13th, just your classic, camp slasher. Yeah, exactly. Like perfect. And then I also thought, particularly like at the end where she's on the road and she's flagging down the car, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there was definite, sort of like echoes of that. So I think,
You could imagine Johnny there swinging his drag hooks in the air as she drove off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and she's, got that desperate sort of stop. And,
well, that's what you think's going to happen,
hopping in the car and like looking around, looking back. But yeah, Friday the 13th, because I think also, those scenes at the end where she's staring off into the wilderness looking for him and he's still out there. It's very, very much Friday the 13th. So yes. What about you, Adam?
What about the boy?
I've got Tucker and Dale versus Evil from 2010, directed by Eli Craig. Sort of a different approach and going for a different feel. It's more of a comedy, but it does a similar thing of shifting perspectives and playing around with the language of horror movies, I guess. So
yeah, that's a good recommendation.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And in that similar vein of just messing around with subverting tropes and subverting expectations, Cabin in the Woods from 2011. It's just sort of also perverting your horror movie tropes there.
Yes, very good.
Yes, and following on from that, the one that probably jumped to mind for me was going back a little bit, 2006, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, which is got that similar thing, I guess, because we're looking at things from a killer's point of view. In this particular one, it's about it is a dark humor sort of one, but it's in essence the guy who's going to be the next great Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger kind of thing has a documentary crew follow him, and he explains things like how can he catch up to people who are running if he's only walking, and it shows that when the victim turns around, he sprints, and when they turn around, he goes back to a walk. And so it sort of had that same thing, what's happening with the killer versus what's happening with the the victims. So.
Yes.
Mm.
The prey.
And the other one too, when you sort of think about that cabin in the woods kind of comedy stuff, and that's a great recommendation because if you haven't seen that movie, just go see it because it's a really, really good film.
Mm.
Is The Final Girls with Tessa Farmiga. That's another one where they actually it's I suppose a little bit of a meta film, to use that term, in that she falls into the movie that her mum was acting in, but then the killer's real and this sort of. And it's the same sort of thing because it's sort of playing around with the slasher movie tropes as well, so taking things in different directions. That being said, none of those recommendations really, with the exception of maybe Friday the 13th, are anywhere near as gruesome and graphic as this one is. So
Yeah, I guess that's the point of difference, isn't it? The kind of, the gruesomeness of this one is, it's got a kind of absurd kind of humor to it, isn't like it's so slow that you kind of start to chuckle, or I did at least anyway. But then when it goes there for the kills and stuff, it's pretty.
Yes, it really does.
kind
well,
of
the deliberate
nasty.
pacing it's like when he cuts the ranger up with the log splitter, and it's just so one paced
Yes.
that it is quite torturous because you're like, all right, so you're going to cut his arm off. Here we go.
Yeah.
But they do it without cutting away, which is really quite clever too. Like the effects are very clever.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah.
But I looked for that though. Actually, they do, because I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, how did they do that? But so he's there, right? He's lying on the ground. He's still breathing. You can see him breathing while he's getting lined up to be put onto the saw, and then Johnny crosses in front of the camera, and that's your edit. And then it's a dummy. It's no longer breathing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yes.
Myth busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody was actually killed at all.
Yeah.
one was
He didn't chop that guy's arms off at all.
I want my money back.
Yeah.
So, Adam, where do you land with this film? What's your final rating?
My final rating for In a Violent Nature. Yes. I think I gave it a 7 last time. So, did I go from a 6 to a 7?
You did go from a 6 to a 7.
Interesting.
From a jack to a king.
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to go...
Loneliness to a wedding ring.
I'm going to give it... I'm going to split the difference and be boring. I love giving halves, I guess, but I'm going to give it 6.5 lockets.
Gonna split it like a ranger.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Well, he didn't get split. That's what you think's going to happen. Anyway, that's a whole other kind of... but only because, for a couple of reasons. I do like its ambition. I like the experiment. I like the swing of it. It's an unusual movie. But having said that, I am kind of done with slashers in a way. The fact that this movie even exists means that audiences and filmmakers are done with slashers because you've got to turn it inside out and do something else with it. Because everyone's...
Tell that to the makers of the next Scream film that's on its way.
Well, did that do well? You said that
Don't drag me.
I know.
Slasher
You said that
sidetrack.
I know what you did last summer was no good. I just don't need to see any slashers. I don't need to see.
That was a private conversation.
I don't need to see any more slashers. Like in
Wow.
the slash, unless they do something really special with
he's
it.
giving himself an out.
Why am I going to go and
Yeah.
see a slasher? They
The
would have
slashers
to.
are awesome.
They would have to do something special with it.
Like what?
I don't know.
Would you go see if there was a new Friday the 13th? Would you go check it out?
Probably not. Like, I don't know. I would know it when I see it, Well, this is the thing, right? I probably would see it. And then I'd be like, yep, that was the thing I saw. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the Halloween movies, they weren't great. The new ones.
Oh, God.
Did you like them?
I really liked the first Halloween one that they did.
I love Danny McBride.
Yeah, look, just going
Can't
off
go
it.
past Jamie Lee.
Yeah, it's okay. It's Jamie Lee's in it. That's like,
She's like,
that's
amazing.
a cheap shot. Does that anyway?
She's awesome.
That's another conversation.
So 6.5 lockets, you say?
6.5 lockets. That and yeah, it's just not it's not necessarily my brand. Yeah.
Mark, what about you?
I've been at 7 all the way along, and lucky 7's where I'm going to stay. It's a really good film. If you do like slashers like I do, you go, it's a different spin on it, which I appreciate. People are out there still trying new things with slasher films. I don't think the world's over them at all. And people like me, don't get me wrong, I see some stuff online, I'm like, that looks terrible. But I think there's still quality slasher films out there. I still believe there's one last great slasher to be made, so I'm always watching waiting to see what that could be. Because I feel like there's enough in there that people might just find the next one.
Really?
I really do. Because like we all thought slashers were over, then Scream came along, and we all love slasher movies again, and these things will happen. We all love the boogeyman.
It's nice that you have hope.
I do have hope. So I'm 7 all the way through with this. I'm really excited for the sequel. I also think there's lots of different angles they could go on. Obviously, nothing happened to Johnny.
No.
So Johnny's got his woods and Johnny's perfectly fine. No one really even barely damaged him.
Yeah, he's got his jewellery back.
And no one's put him down. So you could probably have
Which is an awful turn of phrase.
Well, no one's put him to rest.
Yeah, thank you.
But so in theory, the sequel could take off literally at the end of the first one. It could just be a continuation.
But he's got his locket. You do wonder what they're going to do.
Well, he's got his locket, but that's the secret of how to put him to rest. Does he want to go back to rest now? Maybe it's going to be Johnny in the city. Is he? Tries to make it
Johnny
out
does
now.
Manhattan.
Now he's got his locket. He's out there. He's ready to meet people. He's ready to mingle.
That's right.
He's unbuttoned his shirt to halfay down his chest.
He's looking for his dad or something.
You never can tell.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the woman in the car, perhaps, she seems like she's legit, even though it was a bit iffy. But maybe she does know.
Well, we don't see Chris get anywhere either, do we?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe something happens.
I mean, literally, part 2 could start with Johnny jumping out in front of that car.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or we go back to the woman's house and Johnny's out the back having a barbecue.
Maybe, and because I think we were theorising at the beginning that she might have been related some way.
Yeah, somehow.
Because Johnny's mum never really came into the conversation.
No. And I did notice, and it could be just a complete nothing, but in the woman's car, like on the rearview mirror, there was a big gold braid of it looked like hair.
I saw that, yeah.
I just don't know what that...
And you think things aren't there for no reason?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You don't put... And that's such a weird thing. You might put like a little air freshener tag there and that would mean nothing. But to put a big braid of golden hair, I thought, what?
It did. It looked like someone had cut up someone's plait off or something.
Yeah. So I thought, interesting. So I wonder... But
So finish us on a high note, Trace. As you walk off down the hill back from Johnny's fire tower.
Yes.
You started at 2.
I did start.
You went to 3.
Look, this still is not my favourite film. Okay, I'm putting it out there. I enjoy a slasher film. This still was not one of my favourites, I have to say. But it did sort of grow on me like moss on Johnny. It grew on me a bit as I continued to watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I was trying to come at it as like an instructional video for mindfulness, slow living.
So it did, and I think, as I'm actually discovering the more we do this and watch films for that third time, you do, and I've said before, you do relax into it in a way and you start to pick up other things. Like I sort of heard, I didn't have my subtitles on, but I did hear a lot more dialogue this time and start to piece together a little bit more of the narrative, whereas the first time it was just the dialogue was so muddy. I was just like, what the heck is going on? So, yeah, I did start to pull more through. So I think, I appreciate the fact they're trying something new. And Chris Nash, the writer-director, seems like a really sort of fun and witty guy. So, I appreciate that. And I think there are a couple of scenes in here that were really good. And I do like the woods anyway. So I think, hold on to your hats.
How many gold lockets?
When is it?
I think I'm going to go 4.
Ooh.
Yep.
So it's still a fail.
Doubled.
But it's a high fail. But it's still, there's obviously, as we discover, by looking at, films so in depth, there's something for everybody. Like, there's can be diverse opinions and ideas, and it doesn't mean, like you guys really enjoy this film and really get a lot out of it. And so it's one of those things where there's always going to be, discrepancy. So it's good to hear the different points of view, I guess.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I guess on that note, that's our wrap.
That's our trip to the woods.
That's our trip to the woods. We've packed the car. We're heading home.
We've locked the locket. Yep, we've jumped in the car.
Yep.
I'm getting out of the woods.
Going down the hill?
No one brought the locket, did they?
No.
No, left the locket behind. So until, the next time. If you enjoyed listening to us have a walk in the woods with Johnny, please remember to give us a review. Please remember to subscribe, like, follow, share with your friends. The more people who know about the podcast, the more we get to do. And if you'd like to keep up to date with us and with what's happening with Thrice, please make sure you're following us over on Facebook at Sinister Siblings. So on that note, I'm going to buckle up in the car and head off. Yes, whippoorwill.
Goodbye, everybody.
Whippoorwill.
Caw-caw.
Caw-caw.